time.
Goof around.
Yeah.
There's no mashup. What episode is
我们不
this?
是前面还有一个视频吗
41.
You'll be first.
3,
Okay, you go.
1, go.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday to everyone out there in GTV land. This is David. I am the host of The Fringe, and I'm here today with my co-host, Ada, and we are here in downtown New York City. We've been doing a series of specials all week. We've been doing The Fringe, and then we've been doing also specials of The Fringe. So today is actually the day we do The Fringe, but we can't because, I'm sorry, no, it's tomorrow.
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Tuesday.
Yeah, but
Wow.
so much
I'm sorry.
going
We
on.
have to leave. It's the wrong day. No, I'm joking. No, but really, we
Yes.
should be. We're usually on Tuesdays and Fridays from 7 to 8 p.m. But because of all the events that are happening this week,
Yes.
we are here today, this morning for you, bringing you The Fringe live from downtown New York City, right across the street from the amazing Freedom Tower.
That's right.
And again, I have my wonderful co-host with me, Ada. Would you like to say a few things, Ada?
Of course. Thank you so much, David. It is always an honor being here with David. And here, like he said, downtown Manhattan, next to the Freedom Tower. It's definitely been a very special week, seeing a lot of new faces, actually new faces, but not new people, because we've been talking to a lot of people online, but now we're finally seeing them in person. It's just spectacular. And now that we're all together, especially doing the show like this with David, it's honestly a once in a lifetime experience for me.
Yeah, and hopefully there'll be many, many, many more to come. That's our hope, surely.
Yes.
I have a special announcement to make. We have a very, very special guest today.
David's a big fan.
I'm a huge fan of this young lady. She is an amazing GTV broadcaster from Norway, and her name is Nana. And we're going to talk to her in a little bit about the vaccines. I watched a show of Nana's the other day, Ada, and it was amazing. It was on, I think,
know.
2 days ago.
Yes.
And she talked about the vaccines, and she's so insightful, and I cannot wait to have her on. I'm so excited to have her on the show and kind of do the cross thing. She's seen The Fringe, and I've seen her show, and she's going to talk a little bit about herself, her involvement with the whistleblower movement, and
Can't wait
the
to hear it.
vaccines. Yeah, it's going to be great. Okay, so let's get started here with our news. What we're going to focus on and what we've been focusing on this week, Ada, as you know, is the COVID-19 virus and the vaccine. And the reason we're focusing so much on the virus right now is because although it's on a downslide, the mainstream media, Ada, is starting to realize that what we've been talking about for the past year since Dr. Li Mingyang came over here from
Right.
China our number one whistleblower, the hero.
Yes.
She's a god to me. I mean, seriously, she's just amazing.
For sure, an idol.
Yeah, exactly. What she's done for our movement and for the rest of the world, but no one listened to her. They called us crazy. They called us bigots. They called us xenophobes, misogynists. They lumped us all together. All the Republicans that supported Dr. Lee Min-yang. Now, I'm not saying there wasn't Democrats that did, but there were a lot of people that did not like us and hated Donald Trump because he made the claim that this virus was created in a lab in Wuhan, China. And we know now that it indeed was.
Exactly.
And the MSM has bought into that. So what I prepared here is a video mashup of CNN and them backing off of everything they said in the beginning, especially Chris Cuomo, who irks me. He makes me cringe. He makes me cringe on the fringe. Chris Cuomo. You
Look
like
at that rhyme.
So here we go. We're going to have a mashup here right now of CNN and how they're trying to save face over there because they realized we were right all along.
Do you think it's more likely than not that the coronavirus emerged naturally or from a lab accident?
You know, I do think it's more likely than not it emerged out of the lab, most likely accidentally, for several reasons. And first of all, Jake, let me say this is the worst cover-up in human history that we've seen, resulting in 3.5 million deaths, creating economic devastation around the globe. As you mentioned, though, it was just declassified that 3 of the researchers were actually hospitalized in November of 2019 with flu-like symptoms consistent with COVID.
President Biden has ordered this 90-day review by the intelligence community to see what they think. If they conclude the same thing that you have, and there's no reason to think that they wouldn't, what should the world do? What should President Biden do?
Well, I'm glad the president finally has done this. It's long overdue. I think because they have destroyed everything at the lab, it could be very inconclusive. We have signals intelligence and human and other forms of intelligence, but it may not be 100%. But I think saying it's more likely than not is probably the right answer here.
Texas lawmaker Michael McCall there, who was the top Republican on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, giving the lab leak theory some more height. He was telling CNN's Jake Tapper that the origins of COVID-19 is the worst cover-up in human history and that the virus likely emerged from a lab leak. For a long time, mainstream media wouldn't touch reporting this theory, but in the last week or so, it has made serious headlines. Last week, President Biden started to take the theory the coronavirus originated in a Chinese lab more seriously. He issued a 90-day directive to US intelligence agencies to investigate 2 theories. Either the virus originated from an infected animal that transmitted to humans, or it came from a lab leak. Michael McCall called Biden's decision long overdue, especially as China has been accused of a major cover-up and that any evidence the virus came from a lab is probably destroyed. Mainstream media has been hesitant in giving attention to the theory because it was considered a conspiracy theory for so long and that it was just a theory Trump had backed up. President Trump was one of the first people to suggest the theory could have been the source, but he was slammed by media for doing so. CNN's Chris Cuomo a few days ago falsely claimed the theory is a newer notion and that's something the United States government hadn't pursued yet.
COVID was passed from animals to humans, or it originated from a lab accident. Now, the second is a newer notion, okay? The government had not been open to the lab theory. That is why it is so politically charged. It was dismissed as a conspiracy early on, but now is under serious consideration. Why? An intel report determined several researchers at the Wuhan Institute of Virology were hospitalized for an unknown illness in November 2019, the month before China reported its first COVID case. Suspicious. So why is it politically charged? Because Trumpers who were complicit in playing down the pandemic reality in America are now seeing more interest in the China lab theory as some kind of vindication, enough to play I told you so with Fauci.
However, this isn't true. Here is Chris himself breaking the news in April 2020 that the lab leak theory was a story to watch.
All right, we have breaking news on our watch. It is a very provocative headline. I'm just getting it. Let's go through it together in real time. Here's the headline. The United States is pursuing the theory that the virus started in a Chinese lab, not a market. I know the internet is rife with conspiracy theories and concerns that this was something that was worked on, that was designed. And that's why we don't understand. But if they're investigating and they can get sources, other sources told CNN the U.S. intel hasn't been able to corroborate the theory, but is trying to discern whether someone was infected in the lab or it was about poor handling. So this is a story to watch. I know many are curious about it. New information. They are looking at it at the U.S. intel level. As we get more, you'll get more.
Former President Donald Trump appeared on Fox News last week where he said he has very little doubt the virus came from a virology lab in Wuhan. He told Dan Bongino, "Now everybody is agreeing that I was right when I very early on called Wuhan as the source of COVID-19, sometimes referred to as the China virus."
So there you go, Ada. You saw how mad I was getting.
Yes, he was getting very emotional.
Especially when Cringe Cuomo, I'm trying to change his name to Cringe Cuomo, was talking. You could see him literally fumbling over everything he said, going back on his word. He literally lied right to your faces, right there on national television, all over the world, as CNN is a worldwide I like to call it the communist news network, because really, that's what they are. They don't support us. They don't care about us. All they are, and I still love how he called us Trumpers and, like he's degrading us and talking down to us. I can't stand this station. I can't stand the people that are on it. I can't stand Don Lemon, who's the biggest racist of all of them. And he actually has Chris Cuomo as a guest sometimes. So there's so much racism in that room when they're both there that it's ridiculous. I am so beside myself when I see this story, Ada, because we broke this news. Dr. Yen came over here a year ago. Millions of lives would have been saved, hundreds of millions of infections. We would have been able to get into that lab, Ada, and do the investigation when it should have been done in the beginning and find patient zero, find out where this thing, what it's actually made of. Because what we're going to talk about later, Ada, to Nana, is that no vaccine is going to work for this. Because if you make a vaccine for something that's not man-made, if you're making a vaccine for a virus that was man-made and it's continuously, if the virus continuously mutates, you'd have to keep making vaccines over and over and over to get to mutation. And that's proof itself, people, that this is a man-made, in a lab virus because of how quickly it's mutating. You can't, and the scary part is all these people getting vaccines, they're not going to be vaccinated. I'm not saying they're all going to die. No. Who knows what's going to happen in a few years? Don't want to scare you. But the vaccine that they're getting is not going to be the vaccine that's going to be effective against the next mutation and the next mutation, because that's what this scientifically created virus is doing. It's mutating at levels we've never seen before in the history of humankind, and it was caused by the CCP. It was created by the CCP. I'm done my rant. Over to you, Ada.
Thank you, David. No, David is very emotional, and as so are the rest of us, because we've been talking about this for so long, and we've been pestering at the CNN and the MSMs just to really push for the truth, yet they haven't done it. But after a year or even longer, now it's coming out, and people are saying, oh, this is long overdue. Well, it's actually long overdue, because we've been talking about this. And especially with Chris Cuomo, we've seen him get the virus, and even with him suffering from COVID-19, he was still talking about how these were conspiracy theories. And it really boils the blood when these conspiracy theories are then verified, and now he's talking about it like it was the way he talked the whole time, which is honestly so untrue. So in my opinion, the CNN has honestly lost all credibility in my case, because you can't just contradict yourself the way that he did and think it's okay.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Ada. It's about credibility. It really is. And when I was growing up, you would listen to the news, and they gave you a chance. They told you the truth, first of all. And you had the option to choose a side. Okay, I think this or I think that. Or all the news does, is all it's supposed to do is report the truth to you. And then you make a decision based on that, what your decision is, according to whatever news they are presenting to you. That's not the way news media is today. The MSM, the mainstream media, CNN, MSNBC, whoever else, is not about giving you the truth. They're about supporting a side of the government that is absolutely against the freedoms that we experience here every day, that we love here in America.
Yes.
So I'm calmed down a little bit. Thank you.
No worries.
I had to really get that out because it was all boiling up, and then seeing the video that one last time before talking to you. So again, people, MSM, don't listen to them. This puts CNN. Their back is to the wall now, Aiden. I like what you said. Their credibility is definitely in check. They're trying, my good friend Chris said this, what CNN is trying to do is save face. That's what they're doing right now. They know their backs are to the wall. And the incredible part about it, Ada, is that they're not only trying to save face, it's the way they're trying to do it. They're presenting this story, like you saw right here, people, like they're the ones that discovered, sources tell CNN that. Sources have been telling GTV since over a year ago. When
The
Dr.
real
Yen,
source, too.
Yeah, we have the source.
Yes, literally
have
the source.
We literally have the source, Dr. Li Menyang from China.
Yes.
And of course, above her, we have Miles Guo.
Actually, speaking of this, I was speaking with a whistleblower yesterday, and he was saying how the first time he verified that everything Mr. Miles Guo said was true was when 4/19, which is April 19th, when he was cut off the VOA, Voice of America, happened, because that's when he realized how crazy, or just exactly how powerful the CCP really is, and how much they infiltrate into the U.S. system. So with the BGOI plan that we speak often of on the Fringe, which is blue, gold, yellow, blue meaning all of our information, that's how they do it too, because they try to bribe the systems. They bribe all of these people with money and have their information and all of the brainwashing really extend out of the CCP's control into all of the countries internationally. And now when we see the CNN say these things and basically blatantly lie to everybody who's listening, we really understand how deeply the CCP has infiltrated this country.
That's right. And here's something very important to think about, people. I'm going to break this down to brass tacks for you. What CNN did, what the mainstream media did, was put millions of lives in danger. And I can say this with honesty now, knowing that this is going to be hard for them to recover from. But I'm going to say it just like this. Because of the MSN, because of CNN, especially because of MSNBC, millions of people have died. And the more that this story comes out, the more that they realize what they've done wrong, and that now they're still trying to cover it up. Like they just found out yesterday that this could be lab created when Donald Trump was saying it during his presidency, when this thing came out, when COVID first hit America, when we knew what was coming over here.
Yes.
We heard about the outbreak in Wuhan. So we have CNN, I think, and the MSM needs to be held accountable. All those people, I don't know how you would do it. The problem, though, Ada, is that what they're saying now is because obviously the CCP destroyed all of that information at that lab in Wuhan, we wouldn't be able to prove that it was created there. So that's the dilemma. That's what we're dealing with. But there's enough factual evidence that leans toward the fact that it was lab created, again, like I said, because of how it mutates. This virus does things that a normal virus that was made naturally through an animal or man passing through from an animal to a human doesn't do. There's too many factors involved that even if you didn't have solid proof that this was created in a lab, that you'd still have enough proof to say that.
Yes.
And the way that this thing ended, besides cringe Cuomo, what he said was was that this man kind of left it like an open-ended book that we're looking at possibly, well, yeah, but what can we do about it? And I tell you what you can do about it is you can hold the CCP accountable.
That is
Every
right.
single action, everything they've done up to this point, the genocide of the Uyghurs in Xinjiang, the COVID virus, Taiwan, Hong Kong. Look at everything the CCP is doing right now to
Over the
bully.
past year,
Yeah,
too.
yeah. This is all just in the past year.
Yeah.
They're making their stance. They're showing everybody, and they're telling you in your face that they want to take over this world, and we
Yes.
need to stop that now. I don't want 90 days, a 90-day investigation by the Biden administration.
No.
This is bigger than checking for 90 days whether or not a virus was created in a lab.
Yes.
This is putting the CCP in check right now and taking down that entire government, period. That's what this show is all about. That's what our end game is here
Yes.
at GTV, what Miles Guo's dream is, and the dream that we follow. And
Yes.
that's what needs to happen. No 90 days. Take down the CCP now. And I'll tell you what, Ada, watching what's been happening recently in the news, I think a lot of countries, not
Yes.
just us, are starting to wake up to the fact that what the CCP is doing and their infiltration of not only our country, their own country, but other countries, people are starting to wisen up to that, and they're starting to see it. You
Yeah.
can only do so much damage as a nation to other nations before people start standing up to you, and that's how the communist regime in China is going to fall.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be soon. I really do. I think someone
hope
said
so.
maybe 5 years, 2 to 5 years. I'm hoping 1 to 2 years, to be honest.
I'm really
this thing's
hoping
at a
so.
this thing's at a boiling point right now.
That's
If we
right.
don't take care of this now, those 100 other labs in Wuhan where they're creating other viruses are going to just continue to do what they do.
Yes.
And like Gordon Chang said, the end game here is for the CCP to create a humanity-ending virus. And this needs to be taken seriously. We need to stop talking about accountability, and we need to hold the CCP accountable.
Very well said, David.
Thank
David
you.
is honestly on a roll today, this morning. Maybe we should just do morning shows from now on.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe this is
Yeah.
where your juices are flowing. But
Yeah.
when it comes to the CCP, we must hold them accountable, like David said. And with all of the things that we have seen, we have to stop taking the long way around.
That's
We
right.
have to stop taking the scenic route, let's just say. When we hear that some virus was transmitted through a bat to human, we should question it first before believing it first.
That's right.
And not take a year to question and think about it, then kind of like detour back and think, wait, that doesn't actually make sense, because it never made sense from the get-go. They never even tried to cover up their tracks. So with all of this poor lies, we should have held them accountable from the get-go and just bantered them and really forced them into a corner so that they can spit out the truth, or at least give them the pressure that they know the rest of the world is watching them.
Yeah, that's right. And there's some great points there. And I think this is a great time to segue into the next segment of this episode, Ada. And we do have a very, very, very special guest.
Yes, we do.
Very excited. Let's put our little earpieces in so we
Yes,
can hear
let's
her
do that.
talk. We have Nana from Norway. Nana, are you there?
David, Ada.
Yes. Hi,
Hi,
Nana.
can you hear me?
Yes,
Hi,
we can.
Ada. Great.
Welcome to the Fringe.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for the invite.
We are really happy to have you. Now, just so you know, Nana, we have a delay. So when we talk, it'll be a delay coming from us to you. So we'll have to wait to hear your answers. But again, so I thank you so much for joining us. I'm a huge fan of your show. For those of you that don't know Nana, she has a show on GTV where she comes on with her boyfriend and they talk about different subjects within the United States and China and our dealings with them domestically and internationally. There was a show this past Saturday on 529, and Nana talked about the dangers of the COVID vaccine. But before we get into that, just really quickly, Nana, can you just kind of let us know how you got involved with the whistleblower movement and got to where you are today and created your own show?
Yeah, because when you asked me yesterday, I was like, that's a really good question because I really haven't think about it. Kind of just, I feel like life kind of just like guide me here. And with the whistleblower movement, it's like the light and you just like tracked you. And I have been like wanting to do like something to do with the media and like helping people, and I have tried like YouTube and like maybe like doing healthy lifestyle and stuff, but like right now I kind of just like, oh, this is like really works. I love helping people and I love like doing like something to do with the media. So it's like I'm so grateful that I have this chance to do something for the whistleblower movement. So that's how I kind of just got here, you know?
Well, thank you, and we certainly appreciate you
Yes.
taking the path that you have, because our paths wouldn't have crossed. And I think God is behind all of it, and He puts us all in a position to succeed. And
Yes.
our goal. Still hear me, Nana? Okay.
Yes. We
Yeah,
can.
yeah. It was cut off for a little bit. Now it's back.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Our goal is to spread this word, spread this truth to as many people as we can, because they're not getting it in America, especially, and I know they're not getting it in China. The truth about what's going on with this virus, and especially the vaccines. Like I said in the beginning of the show, you made some really good points. I had to take some notes here to make sure I didn't miss anything. We know that, again, and I talked about this with Ada, we know that this vaccine is man-made in a lab by scientists because of the mutation of it, how it mutates so much, and no normal virus does this. You talked about this on your show. You talked about celebrities, sportscasters, sports figures, pushing the way that they handle their vaccine, how they're getting a vaccine, and because they're getting it, you should get it, before they know any information. I really wish, to be honest with you, Ada, that people would have listened to Nana's show before they got a vaccine, because what she shared on that show would have saved a lot of people from a lot what might be a lot of pain in the future, having this poison pulsing throughout their bodies right now. You talked about hydroxychloroquine. I'm a huge fan. I take it every week, of course. I think Ada does too.
Yes.
We don't have to disclose our HIPAA information to anybody,
That's
but
okay. It's open book.
Yeah. So some of the other things you talked about was the model from Britain, Stephanie Dubois, how she ended up getting sick a couple weeks after her shot, and then had a brain hemorrhage and died, 30 some years old. That was absolutely tragic. And the worst part about that is, Nana, that they're going to sweep that under the carpet and say, well, that wasn't because of COVID, and they'll make up an excuse it was because of something else. I'm sorry, it wasn't because of the vaccine. We'll get into that. I'm sure you'll talk a little bit about that. I love your insight on it. We talked really quickly. We talked to JJF from New Zealand just a couple days ago, and we were talking about how in America, fill out a job application.
Yes.
And it also,
oh my gosh.
if you're working a job and you don't get it, that's what I call it now. I named it jabs or jobs,
Right.
which is ridiculous. The most important thing to me that Nana talked about, Ada, was a Nobel Prize-winning virologist.
Yes.
He's French. His name is Luc Montagnier. He said the vaccine is creating variants. It's called anti-enhancement, which virus is a Nobel Peace Prize winner now, saying this, virologist, that it is signs right there. If Dr. Jesus, who else are you gonna listen to? That's it. So Nana, take it away. Let's hear your thoughts.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Ada. Actually, for this virus thing, I told my American friends like a year ago when it first started, and I told him he doesn't believe that, and then now we haven't, we stopped being friends for now, and it's really sad, and it's really sad for us, especially the people around us. We can do nothing about it, and especially like my boyfriend's parents, we can't do nothing about it because they believe that it's a low rate, like death rate, if you take the vaccine. So they think they're not going to be the one. But then everyone is just trying to like go back to normal of life, wanted to do whatever they want, but they forgot to question that what actually this virus is coming from, if it's man-made, and they've been so busy to like, oh, we just want to get back to life, get back to normal, so we just take the vaccine, without even questioning if it's going to be safe for you. And without, now you can actually see people would rather sacrifice their life and save city to exchange for the freedom that they have been not having for the past year. So that's like, I think it's a very good time, since now news media has been coming up for more information about this virus can be coming from the lab. People should actually pause a little bit and stop and look back and think if they should really trust their government and the media that they depend so much on. Because you can see right now, people, not even the government can control you taking the vaccine. People from big tech, airplane, right, or jobs, they can control, kind of subconsciously kind of control you to take the vaccine in order to get life back to normal. If you want to use their airline service, you have to take the vaccine. So it's like giving much more power to the big techs and companies. So also it's not safe. So like people should really do more research instead of just like watching whatever people are telling them. I think it's good for people to be skeptic, especially during this time. Yeah.
That's very true. And honestly, Nana, I have a question for you. I don't know what it's like in Norway right now or wherever you are in Europe, but here in the US, everybody feels so peer pressured to get the vaccine because without the vaccine, you can't go traveling. Without the vaccine, you can't go to your day job. You can't take off your masks while others can. And all of these restraints honestly peer pressures people to forget about all the questions, forget about all of the unanswered problems, and just take the vaccine because it's the easy way out. How do you feel about that?
I feel lucky because I get to the whistleblower movement, and Miles told us this thing is a biological weapon and it has much more meaning like propaganda behind it and what it means to control with their politics behind their motives. So I know that even though other people like they want to take the vaccine in order to get the freedom, but at least I know that life is much more, and like healthy life is much more important than anything else right now. So I can stay at home, I can get a work at home. I don't care, like I have to, because like people have to stop caring about what other people think, especially during this time, this virus. People need to think, okay, this actually is not from like the nature, so why is this released? Then people need to, then maybe they're gonna be more serious about, oh, this is not a joke, it's already killed so many people, and you don't know what's the side effects afterwards, after you get the even the COVID. Because a lot of people who get the COVID, even though they recover, they still has very low energy and their organ people, and then they died, even some people after all, and then the doctor find out their organs were failing and stuff. So I think just people should just do more research once they find out how scary this virus is, because I feel like right now they're just desensitized with this pandemic thing. They think it's just like it's recover from it.
Yeah, you're right, Nana. And a really good point you made was how we are sensitized. Everybody is listening to what the MSM says, and they're not taking anything at fact. Mm-hmm. If they would have listened to you, like I said, your show was so insightful. It really would have helped people to decide whether or not it's okay to get this thing injected into your body, and it's not. if you ask me, if there's only one case of a death from a vaccine that's supposed to help you from getting sick and you die from that, that there's something wrong with that. I don't care what anybody says, even if there's one case of it. We have millions and millions of flu shots every year. Nobody dies. I mean, it's insane. There's so much evidence out there that you should not get this thing injected in your body. And it really feels like in America, you're being forced to do it. And I'll tell you what, if they put me before a firing squad and say, take this injection, so I'm going to die anyway, you might as well shoot me. That's how I feel about it. I'm going to let, when I talk about the vaccine, I'm not going to tell people whether or not to get it. We're going to listen to what Nana says, her insightful information. We're going to listen to what Dr. Lee Min-yen says.
Yes.
And we're going to listen to the truth. And then we'll let them decide. And one of the things I wanted to do, like as a side note here, Nana, is that's the point of you and I, what we're doing. I saw your show. I want to share it on my show, what you talked about. And hopefully that people that watch my show will spread that information to somebody else or tell someone else, hey, watch The Fringe. Because in this episode, David's talking to Nana, and you should watch her show too. And the more people, this is how, right now, we're in the middle of this thing happening. We're in the middle of this very special time for the whistleblower movement and for the new federal state of China. This is what it's all about. Nana has an amazing report. I pass it on to my people. She might hear something she likes from me, pass it on to her people, and then eventually the word gets out there. This is the way it spreads. What we're doing right now is exactly what we should be doing. And I want to thank you so much for your time today and for having that show on Saturday about the vaccine. It's so insightful. So what I'd like you to do now, Nana, is just plug your show, let people know where they can see you on GTV.
Oh, thank you, David. My show is usually supposed to be like New York time, Saturday around 9 a.m. to 12 or 9, around that times. And then maybe Wednesday, the same time around. So twice a week.
And what's the name of your show?
Oh, the name of the show is called Nana's Talk Show.
Nana's Talk Show.
There you go. It's NANA Talk Show.
Thank
and
you.
I'll be watching. We're quarantined. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Yes, we are.
That's kind of why we had to rush things through here this morning.
Yep.
We had to start earlier, but we do appreciate, again, you joining us. I'm a huge fan. I can't wait to watch your next show. Thank you so much, Nana, for joining us today, and God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
and
you,
honestly,
Ada.
we're all going to go
Thank you,
stay
David.
tuned to your show and tune in. And I'm a new fan too now. Thank you so much.
See how it works? Thanks again,
Thank
Nana. God
you.
bless.
Speaking of COVID testing, David, we wouldn't have to do that if it weren't for the CCP virus, you know?
Yeah, that's right. It was a good segment with Nana there. I was really, really happy that I got to do that. Yeah, so as we were talking about previously, just a few seconds ago, we do have to get COVID tested today for this event that's here.
Yes.
For those of you that aren't aware, you've been working really hard.
We all have. We
Yeah.
really have. The team has been working so hard, tirelessly, to make sure everything goes smoothly.
That's right.
Yesterday, we welcomed so many of our whistleblowers.
Yes.
And just seeing them in person makes a world of a difference. Just
Right.
seeing their happy faces, seeing that they're here safely, honestly changes everything and puts everything to perspective.
That's
and it
right.
really tells me, honestly, the word that I heard the most yesterday was truth. Everybody was trying to spread the truth.
That's right.
Through their day jobs, through their friend groups, through their spouses and family members.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the essence of the whistleblower movement. We're just trying to spread this truth. Everything that you want to see, you can fact check us with Dr. Lee Min-yen's papers. She wrote 3 and published all of them. They've been fact checked, verified, and confirmed by all scientists everywhere. So I have no doubt that one day everybody's going to believe us and really follow our path. But I just hope that day comes soon so it doesn't take so long like the CNN did and we can just save more people altogether.
That's a great point, Ada. We cannot wait another year. We can't. This has to happen now. We can't say, okay, well, it took a year for CNN and all the mainstream media. No, we need to take action now.
Yes.
That's what it's all about. And for you fringers out there that aren't aware, my American friends out there right now that are listening, what Ada's talking about is this is our 1-year anniversary of the reading of the Declaration of the New Federal State of China and its establishment in the world, basically. Steve Bannon read the Declaration of the New Federal State of China right out here in New York in the harbor on Miles Guo's yacht. Miles Guo,
Lady
obviously.
May, that's
yes,
the name.
Lady May, that's right. And read that. And I do have a tie to Steve Bannon that way. I'm very proud to say that I also read the
Yes, you
preface to the new federal state of China, the Declaration of the New Federal State of China on October 1st in New York City.
Yes.
So a young lady was there that read it in Chinese, and then I read it in English, and that's kind of where things snowballed from there and how I ended up in this chair today. So I'm very blessed by that. I think God has everything to do with it, putting me in the right place at the right time. But this is a time to celebrate.
Yes.
And I can see only after a year of the new federal state of China. Sorry about that, folks. About a year after the establishment of the new federal state of China, how many changes, how much we've grown in just a year.
So fast.
We're in how many countries? I couldn't even count, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
How many farms we have all over the world.
Yes. How many whistleblowers we have.
Yeah.
Just gathered here today, or not just in one building, very quickly, we have over 200 people. And that's only by invite because of all the COVID restrictions and the capacity of a venue. But if not, we would want everybody to gather together, because seeing these people and these faces, putting faces to names, it puts everything to perspective of what we've been working towards on the show or just behind the scenes and whom we're actually speaking to.
Yeah, and again, June 4th, 2020 was a momentous day.
Yes.
And right now we have a video I prepared, and it is Stephen K. Bannon reading the preface to the new federal state of China, the Declaration of the New Federal State of China with Miles Guo on Lady May. And let's roll that video now, please.
Mr. Bannon is going to read the English version of the new Federal State of China Declaration.
Also read the proclamation. The Declaration of the New Federal State of China on 4 June 2020 in Beijing. This is the preface. It is the whistleblowers movement that has brought us together in order to realize the rule of law, democracy, and freedom in the new federal state of China. The free Chinese throughout the world and in China have established the Himalaya Supervising Organization. During the past 3 years, Mr. Miles Guo and myself have founded and led the whistleblowers movement that exposed the illegitimacy and the true evil nature of the Chinese Communist Party and its deceptions. The Himalaya Supervising Organization is a voluntary, non-governmental organization with no political affiliations at all. It is recognized by international community and protected by international law, along with the rule of law society. It will serve as a bridge of communications between the new federal state of China and the international communities in the areas of cooperation, defending people and freedom, and protecting the security of assets on the basis of common development and mutual respect among the people of the whole world. Now, the mission of the new federal state of China and the Supervisory Commission is to take down the Chinese Communist Party. The Chinese Communist Party is a gangster organization with no legitimacy, funded by the Communist International, which has subverted the legitimate Chinese government in the past. The totalitarian rule in China has caused horrific atrocities against humanity, total disregard for human rights, the destruction of humanity, trampled over democracy, violated the rule of law, dishonored lawful agreements, caused great bloodshed in Hong Kong, and has exported corruption across the entire...
So what you saw there, again, was the preface of the new federal state of China, the Declaration of New Federal State of China, as read by Stephen K. Bannon. Now, Steve read that entire thing
Yes.
on the Lady May that day, right?
Yes.
The Lady May?
Yes, the Lady May.
And it's long, but it's going to be what replaces, it's our dream
yes.
to replace
The
this
CCP.
flag. Yeah, right here behind me with, right here. With that sickle and hammer, that ugly yellow and red flag they have over in China right now.
That
and
represents blood.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the goal is to have that flag, the flag of the new federal state of China, hanging at every single building and embassy, not only in China but all over the world.
Yes.
This is it. This is our movement. This is serious, folks. We're not, a fly-by-night BLM or Antifa just looking for money in our pockets. It's not what this is about. This is about saving
we mean
lives.
Business.
Yeah, we do, and to support a great cause. It's been such an amazing journey for me this past year, Ada, and our paths have crossed. Obviously, we're here together now.
Yes.
Again, on October 1st, I read the Declaration. I read the preamble to the Declaration. And then later on in November, I was a host of a broadcast that was the Million MAGA March in D.C. Very first raising the flag.
Yes.
November 14th, I believe, was the date of the new federal state of China.
1114.
Yeah, at the Washington Monument. It's in the Sylvan Theater. We know Prince and Phil and those guys did an amazing show together outside as well as inside the studio.
Yeah.
And then after that, and I was we tried to get together the GTV America channel, which was put on hold for now. We're still working on that. But that's when I first heard about you.
Yes.
I went to a
rally.
Yeah, no, I was at a protest.
Oh.
When your dad and mom showed me a video of you, and they said it was actually a video of you auditioning for the
GTV
America.
Yeah.
So her parents showed me this video, and I was like, she's amazing. Her clarity is unbelievable, and she's a beautiful woman, obviously.
Thank you.
And I was intrigued and found out that you would be the person that would be one of my two co-hosts on the Fringe.
That's right.
So that's how we came together, everyone. Isla, Ada, and I all came together.
And Isla.
Yeah, I said Isla first.
Yeah.
I said Isla, Ada, and I.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you just accidentally called me Isla again.
Do. Yeah,
which happens.
That's a funny side
Still
story.
happens.
Yeah, I call Ada Isla and Isla Ada sometimes, or mispronounce their names like Ada instead of Ada.
It's very similar, so
Yeah.
that's okay.
You understand.
I understand.
Yeah, she did. They were troopers about it until I figured it all out. But I'll still slip every once in a while. I have a Freudian slip. But the point is, though, that we all came together because of this movement. And I couldn't feel more blessed to have such great co-hosts like I have. So insightful about everything you talk about. I really appreciate it. And I kind of just want to get a little bit from you.
Yes.
How did you get involved in the whistleblower movement? If you wouldn't mind talking about that for just a little bit. I'm not sure. We have to get our COVID test, so I'm not sure how much time we have, but I'm sure you'll be able to fill it with very great information about yourself, how you got involved with the movement, and how you got to where you are today, and what you hope to see in the future for the whistleblower movement in new federal state of China.
Well, David is always too kind when he speaks about me or Isla, and we're both so happy to have David, of course, as our host. And with the whistleblower movement, it's honestly, sometimes it's in your destiny or in your fate. My parents were very involved in the beginning, especially after the Hong Kong movement, where the students were protesting on the street, and we saw what the police did and the brutality in Hong Kong. And it honestly brought so much tears to our eyes, because we know that CCP infiltrated that and they started that, and it's something that they don't deserve. They deserve democracy. They deserve their rights, especially when it comes to freedom of speech and the right to protest and gather. So after that, I became more involved because I saw these students on the streets, and I thought, why can't that be me here? And spread the truth to more people, because a lot of young people don't really see what is happening with the CCP and why the CCP must be taken down or why they're evil. And all of these problems is a responsibility to the next generation and the generation after us. If we don't take down the CCP now, it will forever be a problem, and a bigger problem as it comes. And being involved with my parents as a family, it really bonds us even deeper. It really tightens our bond together because we're all so passionate when it comes to the whistleblower movement and just working together to really make a big difference together.
I think I've spent, and that's beautiful. And I think I've spent more time with your parents than you have recently.
Yes, that is definitely
protesting
true.
in New York City in the cold with your dad and mom. They're awesome people. Your dad, takes charge, and we always were fed every day because they were on top of everything. And it's not really what it was about, but it was about. I've met so many amazing people that I consider, we're all brothers and sisters now. We are.
We are.
It's what we do in this movement, and that's why it's so amazing. And a little side note. You want to give them I'm going to throw this one on you, but I'm sure you know the answer. What the significance of June 4th is, why we have why was June 4th a specific date that we chose to create the new federal state of China?
So June 4th, 32 years ago, so 1989, June 4th was when the students were protesting in Tiananmen Square. And that's when the tanks were taken in. The CCP really went ham on the students for protesting for freedom. A lot of students had banners saying, "Give me democracy or let me die." And all of these things provoked the CCP so much so that they decided to shoot their own people. And the June 4th massacre has been buried in history books. It's never been mentioned. It's never been brought up ever by the CCP. The CCP don't admit to it, which of course is a lie again, because there are footages, there are videos, there are survivors of June 4th that are still alive today to talk about it. We have a lot of whistleblowers here that I greeted yesterday who were talking about June 4th and how they were a student then, being there, helping carry the bodies, helping carry all of the wounded students onto ambulances only to see them die. So all of these crazy things that aren't even talked about, it's not fair to the souls that we lost. It's not fair to Chinese people today because it's part of what happened. And part of being a human being is to move forward by admitting to your past. And if we don't admit to our past, it's never possible to move forward. I know that my parents also experienced that. They were students back then too. They know what happened. And that's when everybody deep down really found out what happened with the CCP and why they're evil. But no one really took it a step further to see how evil they're becoming and how they're growing to become a more evil, like Stephen Bannon said, gangster group.
Yes. You brought up a great point about the past and history. And it's this saying in America, I'm sure you've heard it before, those who ignore the past are doomed to repeat it. And that's what's happening right now. If they're ignoring that past, if we're not paying attention to what the CCP did in Tiananmen Square in '89, to those innocent thousands of people were murdered that day. There's a famous image that goes around the internet around this time every year. It's the tank man, the guy who stood in front of the tank showing his solidarity. And it was a brave picture and a brave moment. It was. I almost think maybe the soldiers didn't want to fire on the crowd, but they're ordered to do that, or they themselves could be persecuted and probably killed for being, for not listening to what the government told them to do. So it must have been hard. To have been a soldier in that situation also. Just to open fire like that. But again, they are so close to the CCP that maybe they didn't have any conscience about it. I'm not sure. I can't get inside their heads and think of what they.
And here's the thing. People believe their government or believe their country to be like parents to them. Because what the CCP has a saying is that your mom and dad are not as close to you as your government.
Yes.
And that's what the CCP wants you to believe. So if that's really what they're trying to teach the next generation or the younger generations, then why is it that your mom and dad is shooting fire and opening fire at you? That's never possible. And with all of this, I really urge people to Google, if you're obviously outside of China, because with the firewall, it's a little dangerous and we want everyone to be safe.
Yes.
But really do some research and look into what happened. There are so many images, not all of them bloody, just so heart-wrenching when you see these images and see what happened. Really inform yourself of why we were built on that day, why the new federal state of China is going to be built on the ground of something so devastating, because we want the future to be bright. And we don't want the past to repeat itself ever again. That's why we're taking down the CCP.
That's right, and that's a great point, Ada. And unfortunately, that's what's happening right now, and that's why, as I said, I'm so adamantly. You have to agree with this 100%. We need to make change now because we're here talking about what happened in Tiananmen Square. We might not be alive, or our children might not be alive, to talk about what happened during COVID, because it is the CCP's endgame to wipe out humanity. They have the cure. Everybody knows that. They have the cure to COVID over there somewhere. They have it.
They've not been wearing masks ever.
Yeah, never.
The officials.
So they do have a cure. That's something else that's not talked about. And another important factoid that I like to bring up is more Americans have died during this COVID pandemic in the U.S. than have died Americans and civilians together that have died in World War II. So there's no doubt that this is a war. And that's how the CCP is. They're liars. They're thieves. They're killers. They're cheap.
Gangsters.
Yeah, they would rather... it's easier for them to create a virus and have a war that way than to spend a whole bunch of money on tanks and bombs and bullets and guns and troops. Why not just create a virus that'll, and we'll have the troops just to be a cover for everything. That's what they're doing right now, Ada. Action needs to be taken. We just got to keep coming on the show and saying it.
Yes.
They need to be held accountable. There has to be accountability for the CCP. And until that happens, we don't know where we're going to be tomorrow. We have no idea. Our future doesn't look bright right now. We want it to be better. That's why we do what we do.
Yes.
It's a huge step that the mainstream media caught up, but we can't allow that to happen again. We can't. People, don't allow. We're going back to the beginning of this episode. We can't allow what happened this past year to happen again, because you might not have a whole year this time. They might create a virus that will just wipe out humanity. That's why action needs to be taken now. No more speculating. The CCP created a virus in a lab in Wuhan, China. There's 100 other labs they're creating viruses in, and we need to hold them accountable now.
Yeah, and when you speak of woke movements, this is the thing you need to be awake for. You need to be woke enough to see what is happening, because all we see are facts, and we see these things. We just need to question it more. We need everybody to think independently and not just process everything that's fed to them, but really dissect the information a little bit.
Yeah, not just that. Don't listen to Tom Cruise or LeBron James or whoever else telling you this is who you should vote for, or you should get an injection because I did.
Yeah.
You should listen to? Listen to Dr. Li Mingyan.
Yeah.
Whether or not you should get a shot in your arm. Yeah, listen to a virologist. If you are depending on LeBron James to sway you one way or another who to vote for, or to get an injection of a vaccine that we know is ineffective, you, number one, shouldn't be involved in politics or even voting. And number two, you should definitely get your head checked by a medical official. I was just thinking about that one this morning. Don't listen to celebrities when you're making decisions that could alter the outcome of your life and your children's lives. They're even saying they have a vaccine now for 12-year-olds. This is not good. This is not good.
It's not the fact that we don't believe in the science in America. It's the fact that we know patient zero has not been found. We know that the source of the virus has not been found. So it questions, or makes us question, how capable the vaccine really is when it comes to the mutations and the different strands that are coming out daily, and how effective it is in the long-term run. So with this 9-month vaccine, it was, great that it came out so fast and it's available to everyone. But how effective is it? We really question that a little here because of the origination of the virus itself in a lab in Wuhan, because it's man-made.
And it's so frustrating because we do know that the CCP has the cure. They created this thing. They created the cure. They did. We got to find it. We got to get that. That's what you need to have injected if you want to be cured from this thing. Because, again, scientifically proven, the mutations are not normal. They're mutations that show that it's a man-made virus. And the time to take action is now.
Yes. And on a happier note, on the 3rd of June, all of our whistleblowers, everybody who believes in the same thing, really follows the same path and really want the CCP to be taken down and spread the truth together, is going to gather together here in New York.
That's right. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really, really excited about that.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people I've met already.
Yeah.
David, how are you?
I know. David's a celebrity.
I wish I could remember everyone's name. I can't. First of all, I don't speak Chinese.
Surprise.
But here's something funny, a little side note. The one thing you do learn as a husband of a Chinese woman is the first thing you should learn how to say is "wo ai ni," which means I love you. So did I say that right? It's pretty good.
Yeah,
right?
that was pretty good.
Okay.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that and I learned from your dad, actually. I think he's the one that said it.
Okay, is it dirty? If it's dirty,
no, it's
okay.
good. It's good.
Okay.
It's
Just
about
checking.
it's about working hard. Shinkola. Did I say it right?
Yeah, shinkola.
How do you say it?
Yes, shinkola.
Yeah, shinkola. Work hard.
Yes.
You know, hard
No,
work.
no,
And then I
shinkola,
started
like,
saying
thank
that.
you for your hard work, basically.
Right. Yeah. And then when I started saying that, everybody would laugh. So I became like the shinkola guy. You know. So.
Great.
Yeah. But I think we probably should end this here.
Mhm.
We have to go get our COVID
test.
tests to make sure that we don't have COVID.
To make
Thanks, CCP, for doing that to us. See, another way that they've made everything so hard on everybody.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
We got to get to the bottom of this thing, though. That's
do.
the bottom line.
We do.
All right. Well, there we are. I want to thank everybody. Thank you so much. I usually do this thing, but I can't with this microphone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I want to thank Ada, my co-host, for joining me today. And I want to give a shout out to a very special thanks to our guest from Norway, Nana. Thank you so much for joining us today, Nana. Love your show. Again, you can watch Nana's show. What's it called again, Ada?
It's called Nana's Talk Show.
Yes, and it's on GTV. Look it up. Watch Nana's talk show. I believe she said it's on Fridays.
Saturday and Wednesdays.
Ah, see that? That's why I have her. That's why I need that extra. You know, she's the young with the brain, and I'm the older guy who just blabbers sometimes. But
no, that's not true.
Not as bad as
That's
Biden.
not true. That's not true.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you, Ada, for joining us. We appreciate it. Thank you for being
thank you,
here.
David, for having me. I'm always so happy to be here. I would like to thank our crew on behalf of David as well, and our OBS team who are always working whenever we are, or even when we're not working. So I would like to thank all of them. Very lucky.
That's right. Plenty of people behind the scenes. And the Fringe will pick back up again, normal hours next week. Right back at it, right, Ada?
Right.
Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 to 8 p.m. Hopefully we can get more episodes in there. I think after doing these specials every day, I'm kind of getting used to doing this every day. And I'll throw this out there to the powers that be. If you need me to do this every day, I'd be willing to give that a shot.
He's got it.
Anything for the movement, right?
Yes.
Thank you all again for joining us. I'm David Vincent Bob, right here in downtown beautiful New York City with my great co-host Ada. Thank you again for joining us. We want to wish you all a very, very happy, blessed day. Have a great week and a great weekend. God bless you all. Be safe, and God bless you and your families. Have a great day.